Hi, this is Charles Laird with Four Houses Realty, and I'm here with
Kaila Ibora.
Hi, Kayla.
Hi.
So today we would like to talk about 4 things that every seller should know about selling their house. So why don't we get into it?
Yes.
Number 1, photography and staging. Tell us about photography and staging.
It's definitely very important. As we were kind of discussing a little bit before, it's like going on a date. It's your first presentation of who you are, right? So you want to look good and dress good and smell good. Pictures and staging does that for your home.
And the cool thing about it is that there are a lot of agents out there right now that don't take the time to have professional photography taken for these listings. And so then when we see these listings, you could tell because the pictures are either like landscape or portrait. They're small.
You get a thumb in there somewhere.
Yeah, they got a picture of a dog in the screen. I mean, it's just bad. So, and then staging, you know, how important is that?
Home staging. So home staging is very important. There's statistics out there that we can attach or put somewhere that shows how the difference between a house that's staged versus a house that is not staged and how it impacts how long it sits on the market. So it definitely has a big impact because someone can visually see how the furniture will look into that space. How, you know, putting a picture above a fireplace shows, okay, this is a size TV that I can have in this space. And different things like that. So home staging definitely helps decrease the amount of days that your home may sit on the market.
And then oftentimes we have people who forget to declutter their house, and so and we see them all the time where you see these pictures where you got clutter everywhere. You got stuff in the kitchen, all over the counters. You got bed in the bedroom. You got clothes on the bed. The bed's not made. So staging is very important. One other thing is sometimes we see pictures of bathrooms and the toilet seat is up. Toilet seat, put your toilet seat down.
It can be overwhelming. You have to think about, honestly, like if you're in the market to buy a home, what is it that you want to experience? It's that simple. So do you want to walk in and someone feels like it's a Walmart where not to, you know, it's a difference.
Not to talk about the Walmart.
Not to talk about Walmart, okay? I shop at Walmart too sometimes, but my preference is Target. Why? Because it's clean, the aesthetics, it feels good, it smells good, the lighting, all these things factor into my shopping experience, right? So you want to deliver the same thing for someone who is potentially going to buy your home. Yeah,
and we want the agent to make the extra effort to do that. If they're going to be selling one of my most expensive assets, we want them to take the extra step to make sure that it presents well.
Absolutely.
So the other thing we have on here, number 2, is pricing, and talk about the pitfalls of overpricing. Pricing.
Okay, you know, I try not to make pricing a difficult conversation. We want to look at the facts. We want to know what is the market doing today, right? It's not the same as it was six months ago. You know, where everything is overpriced. You know, people are getting over market value. So it's important to have a realtor that understands the market so we can have the proper discussions and make the best decision. Now, you know, you may not always agree with what we have to deliver, but our job is to make sure that you have all the factual information to make the best decision.
Absolutely.
So overpricing can be challenging to deal with if your goal is to sell your home in 30 days. Right. Is that going to be realistic for your 30-day goal? Probably not. So we want to have those open and honest and straight up conversations so we are making the best decision.
Yeah, and we were just talking earlier about a listing. If you're viewing this video, it's November 2022 right now. So earlier this year, the rates were low, market was humming, and I had the opportunity to have a listing appointment in July. And when I had that listing appointment, I didn't get the listing. They listed with another realtor, and it seems like the realtor at that time didn't take the market conditions into account. And so they listed the property $20,000 higher than I had it on my net sheet. So what I do is typically I would do a net sheet at our listing appointment to let the sellers know what to expect,
right,
at, you know, what kind of check that they're going to get at closing, right? How much? And so this particular agent broker listed the property $20,000 too high, not taking into consideration that the market was actually turning around. And so the property, as you can imagine, the property stayed on the market, and as of right now, as of this date, the property is still on the market. So we were talking about the alternatives. If we would have listed it at the price where, you know, there's like an equilibrium where you can have the most buyers at if it's priced right, you'll have the most buyers that are able to buy it. If you price it higher than it's supposed to be, then you're going to have fewer buyers. Is it possible to catch that one? It's possible. If you price it too low, then, you know, you're going to run into, you know, the question, did I price it too low? Could I have gotten more money? You know, FOMO. And so, but the cool thing is that more than likely you'll have multiple offers coming in on a property. And so in this instance, we think that, you know, that obviously they priced the property too high, but it's important for the agents to understand what's going on in the marketplace. Absolutely. You know, and so you don't want a situation where, you know, you're catching a falling knife or trying to catch a falling knife. So, remarks and comments. This is point number 3. So remarks and comments. So there are 4 things that we're focusing on. Number 1 is going to be photography. These are important things for the sellers to know when, you know, selling their home. The second thing is pricing and avoiding the pitfalls of overpricing. Number 3 is remarks and comments that we see in these agent listings, right? How important is that?
It's really important. The whole topic is sell factor.
Right.
As an agent, we are selling your house. So it's important with those remarks and comments. This is what the public will see, right? This is an opportunity to add in that additional sell factor for your house.
Yes.
So it's very important that we put all of our effort and excitement and energy into making sure that what the public sees and reads about your house, it's like, right, I like that.
Right, it's enticing.
They're talking to me.
Right.
I need to see that house. So it's important that those remarks that they read, that's open for the public to see when your house is listed, it resonates in a way that it entices someone to want to see your home. Yeah. And that helps with the sales factor of your home.
So there is what we call a sales factor, and basically this is, all of these things make up the sellability of your home. So if you have a high sales factor number, then that means that your house will likely sell a lot faster, a lot cleaner. Your deal will be cleaner from the beginning to the end. If you have a low sales factor, then more than likely you're going to run into some issues. So we like to make sure that we address these things up front with our clients to make sure that we have the highest probability of not just getting an offer, but to actually make it to the closing table. So remarks is important because when our listing is syndicated over to the public sites like Zillow, Realtor.com, there's some verbiage there that the public sees, is what you were talking about, right? So the public sees this, and if the agent doesn't do their part to actually sell through the remarks, then your house just looks like every other. It looks boring, and so we don't want to have a boring presentation. Again, it's like you said earlier, it's like going on a date. You know, if you getting ready to go on a date, you want to make sure that you have everything. I mean, if it's your first date, I mean, we're not talking about, I mean, maybe for people who've been married for 30 years, you know, you still want to keep it tight, right? But if you are going on your very first date with someone, and people are seeing your house for the first time, you want to make sure that it's being presented, it's being, you know, like, you got to shine the first time around.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
I'm in full agreement.
And then the last thing, point number 4, is accessibility, ease of showing the house. Talk a little bit about that. We were talking earlier about that.
Yeah. So this factors in a couple of different things, but the most important thing is we want to make the process as seamless as possible for someone who's coming to see your home.
Right.
So is it easy for them to go on and request a showing? Do they have communication with the listing agent for any additional questions? Can they get into the home easily? Is there a bunch of different things in the way to navigate getting into the home? Are
what
there
about renters?
clear instructions, renters, and tenants living in the property? So all of these things kind of factor in the ease of showing.
Right.
And the more restrictions that you have around that, the more challenging it is to increase that sales factor, so to speak.
Yeah.
So all those things play in. Do you have a lockbox? Something as small as that. Someone I spoke to a couple of weeks ago who has their home listed and there is no lockbox.
Right.
How are people getting into the home to see it to even sell the house?
Right, because if you got an agent, you know, your property is being listed to all of these agents, and then agent calling, he wants to see the house. You got all these obstacles in the way. Well, you know, we don't have a lockbox, or you got to drive to the listing office to get the key. You know, all of these different things. I mean, so it's important.
It's very important. It's very important.
Yeah.
So all of that factors in. How does the flow of the process work from someone seeing your house to actually getting into the house to see it?
Right.
That process has to be seamless, and that's something that, you know, a professional agent, realtor should be able to lay out for you to make it clear and plain, right? So it's an easy process.
Yeah. And so I was, we were talking earlier, and I had a client that only wanted to show the property between, I think it was between 10 and 12, only on Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Ooh.
So like, if you want to sell the house, you kind of have to act like you want to sell the house, right? Like you can't put all of these restrictions in the way. What's important in that is also timing. So, you know, when the market is hot, and I think it's probably still a good practice. So if we have the paperwork up front, let's just say on Monday, and we got all the paperwork in, we've got the listing contract together, we've got the pictures, all of that stuff is done, then we can actually post your house on the market as a coming soon on Wednesday. And then that way you got a lot of energy that's being generated by the ads and everything else that we run on the property. So by the time we go live, let's just say on Friday, hopefully we can arrange with our sellers to be able to show the house all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and then by Sunday night we've already got an offer, and then, you know, so that's all important too. Yeah, it definitely is. So with that said, any other closing comments you'd like to add about, because we're discussing what every seller should know, because you and I both have experience seeing other properties on the market, and I mean, we get to see all of this stuff, other realtor stuff, and it's like sometimes all realtors, I mean, sometimes you got some good realtors out there, and you can see the pictures are professionally taken, you know, the verbiage is there, where they're actually selling through the listing, through the remarks, you know, it's easy to show the house, the price is right, but then you got those other ones that we see from time to time where it's like, what was the realtor thinking? And to kind of tie into that, you know, sometimes people make the choice of friendship, right? Oh, well, the realtor is my friend. The realtor's done other business with my family, you know, and then you put yourself in this position where you're truly not meeting your goal because of a relationship or a friendship, right? And that sometimes can be challenging for people to say no. Okay, you're not, although we have this friendship and relationship, you're not delivering what I need you to deliver. And although we want to support our friends and different things like that, you have a personal goal and responsibility to yourself and your family. Absolutely.
So it's important to make sure that you do have the best representation to accomplish the goal that you have in mind. And unfortunately, I've run into it so many times where I'm on the phone with somebody and they're telling me all these things that they're experiencing with their realtor that is their friend. And it is really not good service. Like, their friend is doing them a disservice. at something that they're supposed to be an expert in, and I'm like seeing all these red flags, but I can't help in that situation if you're not willing to do the things to help yourself. The pictures and pricing and showability and remarks, all of that is playing into it. We're giving you the blueprint, right, of what sets the foundation, right? It's not everything, but the foundation of having a solid listing. And if your friend cannot deliver on those things, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you should, like you said, the friend is doing you a disservice.
Yes.
If they're your friend, they should be, you know what, I can't do that for you.
Yes.
I can't bring that level.
The friend should be going above and beyond, right? Like, this is my friend.
This is my friend. We're going to keep it Gucci.
Right.
This is my friend. So, I'm bringing the best service.
Yes. And unfortunately, in so many situations, that's not the case.
Right. Yeah.
And if you have to go outside of that friendship to have a conversation with somebody else who already know that something has to change. And if you're doing that, then maybe it's time to have a conversation with our friend.
And it's a tough conversation to have, but at the end of the day, you have a goal, and your goal is to get your home sold for the most money possible. And so those can be some tough conversation to have. And so with that said, hey, we just wanted to thank you guys for tuning in. Again, these have been 4 things that we believe that contribute to what we call the sell factor. Again, the number 1 thing is photography and staging. You have to have good photography and conscientious staging. 2, pricing. You want to make sure that the house is priced properly according to the market. And then the 3rd thing is remarks. When your agent decides to list your house, look at the remarks. Are they actually trying to sell your house? It's got to show through those remarks, because those remarks are being shown to the public. And accessibility. How easy is it for agents to show your home? All of these things contribute to what we call the sell factor, and these will help you reach your goal in the most expeditious way possible. So with that said, Charles Laird,
Kaila Iborra,
and thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.
Thank you.